So one of the benefits of the crypto winter that we're going through right now is that instead of focusing on the price of cryptocurrencies, those of us working in the space can just focus on innovating and building great products. I felt myself quite lucky because when I partnered to put this conference together with Dragonchain, I got to spend a lot of time at their offices and seeing how they work and seeing how they think. And one of the cool things that came out of that was the way that Joe and his team think about the problems that we face in this space. They're not just Dragonchain specific problems, they're problems that we as an industry face. And so when we were coming up to the conference and discussing, well, what do we want to do there? What are some of the things that Dragonchain wants to talk about? I said, you know, we've actually got some real industry-changing opportunities with some of the products that are being launched here. It's not just a product that solves this small little problem for Dragonchain, but they're products that actually can solve major problems for many players within the industry. And so Joe, CEO of Dragonchain, is going to tell us about those products. Joe Roets. Thought you got scared for a minute. Wasn't going to come out.
Thanks, man. Hello, everybody. So I'm Joe from Dragonchain, and going to talk about the future of blockchain. It's all about adoption, and it's all about the fundamentals, like Jonesy said. We think that the products we're announcing here don't just apply to our platform and our ecosystem, that they're pretty broadly applicable in the space. So starting with something near and dear to our hearts, we launched last year DDSS. And if you don't know what DDSS is, it's Dragon Days of Slumber Score. So it's interesting, and it's been pretty well evaluated in the community as, you know, something that's unique, that it's basically your Dragon balance times the number of days you've held that balance, and effectively it encapsulates time, and, you know, it requires patience, and it's all because time can't be manipulated, right? So it's important for that, and, you know, you can start to think then, and it takes a while, it's pretty abstract, but how can you use that measure, right? And so we had a lot of people in the community coming to us constantly, you know, could we change the formula for this reason or that, and for this application, could I do this? And, you know, so we knew for a while that we were wanting to build out some different algorithms, and we just had to figure out, you know, in which cases would they be used, how do we not, you know, mess up the value that we've built up already, and as it turns out, we decided to open up the DDSS smart contracts, and to allow people to specialize and to change the formula, which you know, could be anything could be used in the formula, not just the balance and the time, and to allow people to productize that time in their community, and to build a marketplace for those time products. Okay, and what this gives you is a metric that can't be manipulated. So if you have people that might be, you know, known good guys in your community, might not, that it lets you evaluate that in a much better way with, you know, white labeled DDSS for your token, for your community, and to use, you know, time as a scarce metric, you know, maybe as an alternative to mining, to staking, things like that. That's what we've used it a lot for. But basically so that you and your community can own their own time, right? That's kind of the basis of it. And we'll go straight into DragonNet, which is all about consensus. And it's an interesting thing that, you know, Dragonchain does have a unique consensus algorithm because we are a hybrid chain, and we constantly get people coming in, especially when we start talking about DragonNet, about when mainnet. right? When are you guys going to do what everyone else does and move over to a shared network that we understand the pattern of, right? And we always have to talk to them, and it's a little hard to explain, but you basically have to not focus on when mainnet. You have to focus on the reality, which is there is no mainnet. That you think about it, every single Dragonchain application has its own blockchain, or more than one. You can have as many as you want. Every single verification node in our network has its own blockchain. And on top of that, we're interchaining with already a handful of public chains. And in the end, we want to interchain with every possible external blockchain that would provide any value to our customers. That's the whole point of what we're doing for flexibility. And so you look then at what do you get if you have a shared network. You have inefficiencies, you have concerns for power consumption, latency, environmental impact, things like that. You have unpredictable fees that are unrelated to your business, that there might be an application that's running on the same chain that does something and it goes viral and it affects your fees. And worse, it affects your scaling, that you might be humming along and doing great with your business transactions, and all of a sudden some other application on the same network comes in. You can't even get your transactions out the door anymore, right? And a business can't deal with that risk. It's too early for that, right? But these are known things. And forward. Sorry. So how do we incentivize people to run nodes? You have to have scarcity. If you don't have scarcity, you can't have a marketplace. And the fact that we are deployed to a multi-cloud environment, right now we're AWS, we're going to have Microsoft, we're going to have Google, we're going to have a few other cloud deployments, we're going to have on-premise deployments, that with no scarcity of resources, the market effect is to race to the bottom on node fees, because I can run any amount of processing through my node. I might as well drop the price and get all of the work, or vast majority of the work, and that would not lead to other people wanting to build or to run nodes. So what scarcity do we apply, right? And it's Dragonchain, so we apply time itself. That we basically use your captured time in DDSS to provide the scarcity rather than the resources themselves that are running those nodes. And so the market effects of that is that if you're a verification node runner with a very high DDSS, you can charge relatively high rates for fees, because it's weighted in. And if I don't have a high DDSS, then I'm going to lower my prices so I get a little more of the action. And for the business, if I have a relatively high DDSS, then I can actually set a default of much lower fee basis. Whereas lower DDSS, I'm going to have to pay more fees to get my transactions out and fully verified. And the network effect is where it's really interesting, at least to me, that since, as I described earlier, the actual scaling is not bound by the resources and the number of nodes as a typical blockchain, we can actually see orders of magnitude increase in the full network traffic without any risk that your transactions won't get out. That we're not bound by the resourcing. We're just bound by those nodes captured DDSS. So all of a sudden we can scale a lot faster. And on top of the fact, if you don't even look at the network side, the fact that we are a hybrid blockchain, the fact that your business nodes are already independent, you can still keep moving along even if everything else fell apart. Okay, so then we go into Dragonchain, which is a community platform that everybody knows the current problems with social media forums, with community forums that they're broken. There's spam, there's FUD, there's scams all over the place, and there are trolls everywhere, paid trolls everywhere. It's horrible. And we created Dragon Den as a quote-unquote crypto-aware community forum. And by crypto-aware, we mean that it can actually facilitate the use of your token to do various things. And as the biggest first example, to use DDSS-based gating for all activity. So if you want to make a post, you have to have a certain level of DDSS. If you want to make a post with an image, it's going to be a higher level, with a link, higher level. And and why? Because we then know that you've spent the time, you actually believe in what this token, what this community is about, and you've provably put in that effort. One way or another, if you want to troll someone, you aren't very likely to go and buy their token and hold it for a really long time just so you can come in and troll them. You aren't going to buy a whole bunch of their tokens just so you can hold it for a couple of days and come in sooner. It makes it too expensive for most of the trolling that goes on out there today. On top of that, we're going. It is a tokenized system where we want to basically reward based upon two different roles, that of content creator, to reward that person based upon the quality of content as evaluated by the community that they create the content in. And second, the actual evaluator. Unlike a lot of forums where my upvotes are free, there is some level, but there's no skin in the game, so there's no ability to really gauge, is this valuable content or not. So what we're going to do is reward the actual evaluator based upon time and magnitude with which they vote, saying this is quality content for this given group. And both of these roles will have skin in the game. We're really working on the economy right now, and we have a demo later today, so you should see that. Also, today and tomorrow we have a session on Marketplace where you can ask questions, introduce some of the vendors that are already working in the Dragonchain Marketplace with projects that are building things for real. Dragon Factor, which is a GDPR compliant multi-factor auth based on blockchain with tokenization. Some interesting things there. That talk is tomorrow. And Dragon Scale, if anybody's interested in the tokenization and especially application of prediction market mechanics to VC funding, accelerating projects, you should talk to Jonesy. He's running that effort. And so the last subject for this set of announcements is Takara, where it's all about stability, which is frankly all about adoption. I mean, this whole thing is how can we get real adoption from real businesses? And in this case, you have to put yourself in the mind, you have to get out of the crypto mindset or engineering mindset and put yourself in the mind of the business person who doesn't care about your token. They don't care about, they care about their business. They know that your platform or your product, blockchain-based or not, could be leveraged by them. That's why everybody's so interested in this space. But right now, there are not the proper, or they're not well-founded accounting methods available. Nobody really, there are too many questions there, and there's way too much volatility, right? I mean, they're not interested in speculation. They want to use this for a business purpose. And so what Takara does is isolates the business customer from that volatility. So they can actually come in and adopt, they can actually come in and leverage the tech and not have to deal with the things that are so foreign to them, and especially to their bosses, right, or their shareholders. And a lot of people in the world are looking at, as an example, stable coin as a potential answer to this. And we're really trying to get to price stability, where we are going to set a stable price for every calendar month based upon the adoption metrics that are published monthly. So everybody can have some transparency into how many people are using the system and how they're using it at some level, and a standard pricing function with governance models so that we can give announcements when anything changes. The reason that it matters is all of a sudden now I can come in as a business and I can treat it just like it's an AWS account, that I know I'm budgeting for $50,000 worth of activity on this platform this month because I'm building out these products or these services. And at the end of the month, I can look at my bill and either way, I see that $50,000 worth of activity happened. And I don't care, frankly, if that's 50,000 dragons or if it's 50 million dragons. It doesn't matter to me at all. All I care is that was my budget, there it is, and I'm reconciled and everything's clean. I start the next month with whatever the price is. It doesn't matter again, because again, these businesses are dealing in fiat. They're not going to convert and say, oh, I'm going to start accounting, have a separate set of books just for these 5 different tokens that I have to use in my business. They're not interested in that. That's just an extra cost to them. So those are the announcements.